Welcome back, KAIDEN GUHLE. Welcome back, Yoel Armia. And hello once again to Sean Monahan for putting himself on the board. What did I say, everybody? What did I say? What did I say earlier today? That Kent Hughes is proving everybody wrong with that Sean Monahan acquisition, who has been so good, so poised, not too great in overtime, not gonna lie, but who has still been contributing at still just under a point per game pace. What's going on? The Montreal Canadiens have just defeated the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 in a shootout, and I'm not gonna lie, this was one of those days where I was just kind of cycling through, flipping back and forth, watching multiple games at once. I have a lot of fantasy points on the line here, so I was paying attention to Seattle versus Florida. I was paying attention to the Red Wings and the Bruins, even though the Bruins have always had the Red Wings number, at least recently. They didn't play out too well, not gonna lie. And of course, I had to check in on the Canadiens and the Jets. I did have this game on in its entirety, just in the background of my home while I was doing other stuff, partly because of the Habs, but also partly because on the City TV broadcast, you had Harnarayan Singh doing the play-by-play, and John Garrett, of all people, doing the color. He's back, everybody! Okay, maybe not full-time, but he's back, he's in the building, he's doing games, and just hearing this lovely, lovely man's voice, hearing his insight and analysis, that put a smile on my face, even when I wasn't paying attention. I was watching David Pastrnak score penalty shot goals, and by the way, we'll get to penalty shots as the video goes on. I was watching the Wings get absolutely pummeled by the Bruins. I was still like, hey, you know what? I love hearing John Garrett in the back of my mind because this guy is an absolute stud. So I don't know what's up with that, why he was calling this Canadiens and Jets game and not any of the Canucks games with John Shorthouse, but the Montreal Canadiens pull off a beautiful come-from-behind victory off of the backs of some very old friends and guys who have been showing off pretty well so far this year. Let's talk about the first goal of the game, scored by Adam Lowry on a penalty shot. This was an unfortunate circumstance where the Canadiens end up giving Lowry a free pass to the net. He comes in, he gets messed with a little bit, there is a penalty shot awarded, and he beats Jake Allen. Okay, 1-0. It's about 4 minutes into the game, there's still a lot of time left to even things up, and that is exactly what the Canadiens did, because literally within the next minute, you have Raphael Harvey-Pinard entering the zone. He throws a long pass up to Justin Barron, and Barron takes it off his skates, comes in on goal, and fires it 14-hole on Laurent Brossoit. By the way, Laurent Brossoit, I met that guy earlier this summer at the Richmond Troy Stetcher Foundation practice that they held. Pretty cool dude, very tall as well. But Justin Barron continues his goal-scoring dominance so far with his third goal in this young NHL season. Raphael Harvey-Pinard, he has been off to a slow start, but he gets the assist here. And guess who gets the secondary assist on this goal? It is KAIDEN GUHLE. Let's go, baby. GUHLE back in the lineup, getting himself on the board. He looked pretty stellar today. Not gonna lie, he looked very safe. He made a lot of decisions that I thought were pretty nice. And, of course, he got involved in the offense. Now, the second period is where things get a little bit rough because the Jets get off to a very good start. All it takes is 15 seconds for Adam Lowry to get his second goal of the game, and it's done in such beautiful fashion you can't even really get mad at anybody here. Sure, oh, Jake Allen lost his crease, whatever. He was not there on the far side post. Not that it doesn't matter. Did you see the puck cycling that went on here? The Winnipeg Jets won the opening faceoff in the second period, were able to get the puck into the Canadian zone, cycle it around behind the Canadiens' net like 3 or 4 times before eventually it's Nino Niederreiter who goes around the net and he throws it back behind the net right to Adam Lowry, who is on the doorstep coming in on the wraparound. This is a Polg's goal. If you're a fan of the NHL video games and the esports scene that exists within this, I know it's kind of weird, esports, NHL, but like, this is one of the goals that was like prime to score in last year's game. The Polg's goal is what they called it. The far side post pass behind the net tuck. It's such an effective move. It's rarely done in the real NHL, but when it is done, it looks beautiful. It's 2-1 Winnipeg 15 seconds into the second period, but then 18 seconds after that, Nino Niederreiter gives the Jets a 2-goal lead, and this goal sucked. Yuri Slafkovsky, buddy, what are you doing? Make a play. This goal, I'm not going to say it was all Slafkovsky's fault. Let's say it's like over 50% Slafkovsky's fault, because the Canadiens are having a little bit of pressure on them as they're trying to break out of their own zone. The puck goes up to Slafkovsky, who is on the half wall, and instead of making a pass, instead of moving his feet, the big Slovak just kind of stands there, and he kind of goes behind his own net, and he gets bumped a little bit, and he makes an ill-advised pass into a big group of bodies. One of the Jets, Mason Appleton, comes in there and takes it away, throws it out in front for Niederreiter, who walks in on the backhand. 3-1 Winnipeg, 18 seconds after it was 2-1 Winnipeg. Juraj Slafkovsky, unfortunately, was the prime contributor on this goal. But thankfully for the Canadiens, this was the final goal that the Jets would score in this game, the final puck that Jake Allen would allow on him in this showcase. Because if you give it 8 minutes after it was 3-1, you have a power play goal scored by none other than my guy, Sean Monahan, assisted by Nick Suzuki and Mike Matheson, baby. Let's go. Matheson getting more points for my fantasy team. I'm still losing my matchup this week. It's really frustrating. But Matheson ends up going back and forth with Caulfield on that left side. Matheson then goes down to Suzuki on the right side. He throws it in front for Monahan, who is all by himself, and then he goes on the backhand quick move to bait Brossoit into leaving that short side post. And it works. Monahan with his 4th of the season, 3-2 game for the Canadiens. There are no more goals scored in the second period. You have to wait until the third to get things back up and running. And the third period 3-3 goal, this was a beauty. Not because the goal itself was like too amazing, but it comes at the end of a Canadiens penalty kill, so good on them for killing it. But the guys that were involved, this is what we'd like to see. KAIDEN GUHLE steals the puck in the Canadian zone. The penalty just comes to an end. GUHLE throws it to the right wing for Yoel Armia, who comes in with a shot and he scores. Not the most beautiful play. The Jets were kind of scrambled. Their back check was all over the place. The Canadiens had like 3 other players that were joining the rush too. But this worked. Yoel Armia back in the lineup. Screw all the Anthony Mantha trade talks. This guy's back in here and he's looking good. KAIDEN GUHLE getting his 2nd assist of the night. The game is 3-3, and the Montreal Canadiens survive until overtime. And I say survive because there were a bunch more penalties, there were a few more power plays handed out. The Canadiens were shorthanded towards the end of this, and that carried over actually into the overtime period. It was 4-on-4 for a little bit, but then the Brossoit covering up with the puck made it 3-on-3 once more. But this overtime period was pretty methodical, pretty slow at times. There weren't too many super high-quality, top-tier chances that we felt were there, but the Canadiens were able to just keep their composure. This is what you want to see. This Winnipeg team has had some success recently, so they definitely know what they're doing. And eventually, it goes to a shootout, where we start out with the captain, Nick Suzuki. He comes in, pulls off a brilliant move to get Laurent Brossoit off of his post. This is a goal, and that is the only goal that is scored in the shootout as the Montreal Canadiens win. I wanted to say this as well. So Mark Scheifele, when he went out there and had his shootout attempt, the boos were raining in. It was awesome. Like, this is what you want to see out of the Canadiens and their fan base because, hey, Mark Scheifele, man, people don't forget, especially people in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. They're not going to forget about what you did years ago with the Jake Evans hit. And every time he had touched the puck in this game, the fans were booing like crazy. It was just a lot more noticeable during the shootout attempt. So good on you, Montreal, for standing up for your guys. Cole Caulfield then gets denied by Laurent Brossoit. Kyle Connor shoots the puck way wide on Jake Allen. Sean Monahan has a really good shot on Brossoit that actually ends up looking like it could go in, but then it hits off at the side on the post there. Nikolai Ehlers then has a chance to extend the shootout and tie things up, but he ends up getting stopped by Allen. This was a great game here by Jake Allen, not gonna lie. Let's excuse the first minute of the second period, and let's excuse a penalty shot. He went out there and stood on his head, stood tall, to make sure the Canadiens did not need to score any more than 3 or 4 goals to win this hockey game. Even the commentators were saying it, Harnarayan Singh and John Garrett saying that the Canadiens probably shouldn't have won this game based off of the quality of chances and the play in general, but hey, sometimes hockey teams just have no quit, and they're able to get things done. Talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about the Montreal Canadiens beating the Jets 4-3 in a shootout. I hope you enjoyed this video. And Bye.